Video game tie-ins have a pretty woeful track record. Whether it's games based on movies or movies based on games, the amount of quality adaptations is limited. A fact that made jumping into Kong Survivor Instinct, the latest game based on Legendary Entertainment's Monsterverse saga, a leap of trepidation, especially when the previous Monsterverse game, Skull Island: Rise of Kong, continued the curse of bad adaptations. Set after the events of Kong vs. Godzilla, Survivor Instinct throws you into the shoes of panicking Father David. After a period of peace following the last Titan outbreak, Kong has made a disastrously violent return from Hollow Earth, weaving a path of destruction across the city. Kong's return has also brought other Titans out of the woodwork, raising the dramatic stakes for humanity. To make matters worse, David's daughter works in the city Kong is currently using as an angry child's playground. Wasting no time after he can't get hold of his daughter, David does what any movie father would do and drives recklessly into a monster-filled war zone to find his daughter. Unfortunately for him, some broken pipes and shattered buildings prove the least of his worries. Played from a side-scrolling perspective, Kong Survivor Instinct is a fully 3D game presented as a 2D survival action platformer. It's not a Metroidvania, despite what the slowly expanding maps and blocked locations may suggest at first glance, and more a straightforward platformer with very light environmental puzzles and combat. Your main goals are to navigate the ruined environments and stay alive while doing so. There's a notable distinction between the game's action moments and its platforming, with David possessing just the right number of skills, and spectacular quads, to make it through. One kick from this guy can send even the heaviest looking safe sliding across the floor with ease. David's limited skill set doesn't expand as there are no experience points earned, or any skills to purchase with them. Beyond finding water bottles that increase your overall health, and magazine clips to increase the number of bullets in your gun, that core moveset is all you have. David can run, jump, climb and slide when running, and move large obstacles around to create makeshift platforms or break through other obstacles. His overall speed feels rather slow, more in line with Golden Age platformers like the original Prince of Persia or Flashback than more recent platformers. The developers do a decent job of breaking up the flow between platforming, fights and survival chases, ensuring the core gameplay loop never feels stale. Between moments of platforming, you'll be dealing with other people hunting you down and icky creatures looking to make a meal of you. Considering that Titans play a major role, there are some spectacular sequences in which you enlist Kong's aid, via a doohickey from the movie, to bash through otherwise unmovable obstacles in your path, or experience tense moments of platforming, running and hiding, while a Titan trashes its way through a building to get to you. Combat is more on the slower-paced tactical side. You've got a series of melee attacks, charged attacks, and a quick step. That closes the gap between you and opponents, while also doubling up as a dodge. There's also a parry attack that will become your most used move, a block, a grab that lets you push enemies around for some cheap hits, and your firearm which makes short work of everyone, especially if you land headshots. Like the level design, which slowly grows with each new area, combat starts off simple before complicating things with multiple attackers at a time. You might have body armor, shields and shotguns. It almost feels like a rock-paper-scissors set of battle conditions, as you parry and counter-attack, dodge shots from armed enemies, and continue the pattern until you're the last one standing. Slow and steady is the name of the game. Dealing with creatures is generally easier, so long as you time your attacks to interrupt their lunges or just shoot them. Ammo is a limited currency though, so you're going to have to choose your battles wisely. Now that said, combat is easily the weakest and most frustrating mechanic. Partly because of its slow-paced nature, it just never clicked with me or felt that satisfying. Conversely, the platforming and exploration are the strongest and most enjoyable elements. Working your way through a devastated city, across halls that you would have once taken a simple stroll down, is engaging, as is looking for health upgrades and unlocking paths between areas. When you're not being attacked, it's an eerie affair, but even with slow movement, the constant flow feels extremely fun and haunting, and it really does a good job of grounding you in the center of an apocalyptic disaster. What helps is that the visuals were an unexpected highlight. Sure, it's not in the same league as AAA titles, but the map design is fantastic and the set design is really stunning, specifically the backdrops to the 2D plane you're currently playing on. As you move from an evacuated residential zone to the crumbling city center, the backdrops are sprawling and yet chock full of little details. From a set of neighborhood corner shops to towering cranes in the distance, the environmental artists have done a fantastic job. Another nice touch, and one that you rarely get to see in the movies, are the bodies trapped between cars or webbed up for something's supper. The one downside is that, while the game is also fully voiced, it's just not good. It fluctuates between acceptable and cringeworthy, but I guess it gets the job done. So wrapping up, Kong Survivor Instinct was a game that I approached with hesitation, but ended up one that really surprised me with just how much fun it was, despite its flaws. Yes, the voice acting isn't great, and the combat grows unappealing over time, but the platforming and visual flair was more than enough to make up for that in spades.
If you've got this far, please consider giving the video a like and maybe subscribing to our channel, as it helps us grow.